Well, I want to start off by saying congratulations on this single. It's an absolutely amazing track, and we cannot wait to play it on our show. So, congratulations.
Thank you so much. The fact that your music reaches new people, it's just an amazing thing, and so very grateful, definitely. Yeah.
So, tell us a little bit about the new band. How did this all come about? Of course, because you and Rigel have played together for a long time. So, what's it like starting out with a brand new band together?
Um, let's say that all started during all these crises that we've been living in during the last 4 or 5 years. I guess that we've been playing with Rigel for about, I would say, 20 years now, and we've been running a doom metal band which is very well known. We've been touring throughout Europe and also Canada, and we put down like 5 LPs, something like that. But during these last years, just to make the story short, everything just went down. And along with that, there was a lot of turmoil in the. I mean, we all experienced personal losses and up to some point, some kind of health problems, especially mental health problems, and everything that we've been doing during the last, let's say, 10 years just crumbled down and fell off. So and then the COVID started. So it was a bit of a rough time. So it all started because we have the need to do this. I mean, for me, it's a personal need to just to do music, to try to communicate not only with whoever are on the other side, like people who listen to your music, but also it's a way to communicate with an inner urge that we have, and this was a way to do so. So we started this project, and we wanted to do. I mean, I know Regal from, as I mentioned before, 20 plus years, maybe more than that. And when we met first time, we exchanged tapes, which was a thing back in the day. And we were much into 90s, early 90s doom metal. So we wanted to go back to the origins, and we wanted to just to release something on that vein. So we started talking, and one thing led to the other, and here we are. I mean, we are about to release this single, and many things that will come on the future, which I will be happy to explain during this interview.
Definitely. So give us a little bit of a pronunciation lesson. Tell us, how do you say the band name,
Okay.
and where did the band name come from?
That's amazing. Amazing question. So the band, the name, if you want to pronounce this correctly, is Solnegre, which is a weird thing to pronounce for an English speaker, but it's Solnegre, Solnegre, Solnegre. It's, but it's. I mean, we are also islanders, as you are. We come from an island very, very far away from yours, but still, I mean, we share. I think that we share some mindset. I'm sure of that. So Sol Negre and or Sol Negre means black sun. It's in our native language, which is Mallorcan. Mallorcan. Well, we come from an island on the Mediterranean Sea, right?
Yeah.
So we have our own language, and our own way of thinking, our own mindset, and of course, we keep this old treasure that we have, which is this language, which is closely related to French, Spanish, Italian, so on, but it's completely different. Comes from Latin, and so we have kind of weird vowels,
Yep.
with, like sol negra, and that's where the name comes from. It's a kind of a philosophic concept in the sense that the black sun is basically related to the it's the sun that shines in the dark or something like that. I mean, it's hard to translate as a concept, but it basically means the opposite of the sun. That should be the translation. So Solnegre is it's just that. It's the opposite of the sun, the negative sun, or the sun for the ones that can't see the sun, or something like that. It's a weird concept, but we wanted to take that concept out from our own culture and try to transform this into a concept for the band.
Awesome. Now, of course, you've got two other band members as well. You've got Tomei and Miguel. Tell us a little bit about them and how you brought them into the band as well.
Okay, so when we started with this kind of old doom metal vibe that we wanted to do with Regal, I think that probably we started on a very weird moment in terms of our mood, our intentions of doing music, and we just wanted to release something really quick. And in that vein that I mentioned before, like 90s, kind of this lo-fi, very kind of broken doom that was popular at the time. But I just called some friends to do whatever we could not do, like the drumming sessions and some arrangements and so on. And all these guys just scrambled in. We know these guys from long ago, but we never played together at all. And basically what happened is that we counted with these two other members, which basically they brought in some ideas, and well, for some reason it changed our way of thinking, in the sense that they are absolute masters in what they do. They are very good musicians, and they just brought in ideas and arrangements, and they just came and say, hey, I want to do this, I would want to try to do that. Why don't we record this on a proper way in a huge studio? And I was trying to avoid that because, as I mentioned before, we come from a band that usually was, we were on that vein where we were accustomed to release LPs on this kind of AAA production with very good, let's say, resources and big studios and good mastering and so on. So we wanted to keep it simple, but at the end of the day, that was no longer possible because all these guys just came in with such great ideas, and it was quite a shame to bury that ideas into a pile of old school sound, which barely you can hear anything. So they just went in. The Tomeu is doing the drums. He plays on an amazing doom metal band called Golgota, which is a legend here in Spain. They played abroad, and they have a lot of dates in festivals for this summer, and they play roughly this kind of, they date back from the 90s, I guess, but they play kind of a modern vibe doom metal, and they are great. And he's still on that band. Regal was session player for that band a few years ago too, and Miguel is just this kind of rough gems that you find every now and then. He's completely disconnected from the scene. He's not in any other band, but for some reason I felt that connection when I met him. He has powerful vocals, and his growling style is amazing. So I wanted to bring him in because basically, he was completely outside. He's an outsider, and he has his own bucket of mental health issues. But so I wanted to bring him in because probably he was exactly who I was looking for the vocals on this album. As you see, we are a bit of a bunch of not really bad musicians at all, but at the end of the day, we share something in common, is that we all really are deeply involved in what we do in terms of that. Probably we are all a bit affected, so that makes this music really work and speaks of a very real thing, which is our what's inside us at the time.
So would you say that when we sit down and eventually be able to listen to the entire album, this will be a very personal album for you, that there's a lot of very personal lyrics on there?
I think so. I think so. That's exactly the point. I started this project just to, just to try to detach some problems from my daily thinking. I mean, roughly speaking, our communication skills are not that great. So we prefer to do what we do best, which is music. This is the way we can communicate with people, not only from our cities or country. You can communicate with basically everyone in the world. So probably to put this kind of deep feelings and thoughts and your reflections on how you feel after all this mess that went around with the COVID and so on. That was the right way to do, because this way you can communicate on a much deeper level. So, yeah, I mean, to answer your question, yes, all the songs are related to one another, and they reflect kind of they go around specific things that happen in our lives, but this is completely interchangeable for with things that may be happening to other people, because these kind of feelings are quite universal, and what you could find on the full length are these kind of stories that probably everyone and each one of us went through during at some point in their lives. So yeah, it's quite of a personal thing, but I think the language is quite universal and easy to understand. Yes.
Definitely. Now, one of the things that really hit me when I was listening to Vessel Part 1, The Night Within, which is the single that we're about to play, is the old school sound that's there. It's such a classic sound. Was that something that you really wanted to achieve with this band?
Definitely. This for me was, I mean, as I mentioned before, we were teens in the 90s. This means that we were much affected by this kind of doom metal starting, let's say 93, 92, 94, something like that. This big four kind of sound, which is Anathema, My Damn Bride, Paradise Lost, and maybe Catatonia at some point at the beginning. So we were much influenced by that. And the way we compose and the way we play and probably the sound we look for, even though we try to upscale a bit the quality and the ways we record, the old school sounding thing is still there, and it is part of us. It's not a sound that you look for, it's how it sounds when you play that, because this is what you feel like, and you influence the sound by the way you are playing that. So yeah, I was talking to a guy from one of these semi-huge doom metal band, and he told me, because I have just a few people I really trust within the scene, and I try to show them what are we doing just to get their feedback from the beginning. He told me, hey, this sounds like very 90s, right? And I said, yes. There's no other way to go around. We don't look for this kind of super progressive, very clean, neat sounding thing. We love the way it sounds, definitely.
Now, the other thing that everyone is going to notice when they take a listen to this single is the work of Mike Rossetti. Tell us a little bit about Mike and why you chose him to be part of this track, because his work sounds absolutely amazing.
It is. He's a very, very, very talented musician. He is one of my best friends, and he's an international musician that basically he's been on different bands as a session musician. He's an absolute virtuoso. So his level is it's just astounding. And I think during the last 4 or 5, he got a kid, so he got a bit out of the scene for the last 2-3 years. We always wanted to do something together. We never got a chance to do. And as long as I remember, he is making a name by itself through YouTube videos and video tutorials. playing insanely difficult songs, and he's pretty much an expert in this kind of fusion, jazz, genres. I mean, he's a very, very skilled musician. He's a guitar teacher and so on. So we always wanted to do something together. We made a lot of jokes about, I bet you cannot play this. I bet you can either. So the first chance I brought him in. He said, "Hey, listen, I'm not much into this extreme metal world, but I completely understand what you are trying to do. Let me do my thing." And I said, "Yeah, but well, this style is, as you know, this is very. The more extreme you go, I don't know if you agree with that, but the more extreme you go within a genre, the more strict what you can do and what you cannot do is within that genre, right?" So what happened here is that he said, "Okay, I understand your point. I want to do music with you, but let me bring in my own feelings about this song, about the lyrics, about everything you want to release. So let me do my thing." And I said, "Okay, just try, but just to let you know that, okay, we are going to be open, but the style is quite strict in terms of what you can do and you cannot do." And I said, I just have a 3-minute solo thing." And I said, "Oh, come on, this is insane. Let's give it a try." And the result, I think it's amazing because it balances perfectly well. It takes the song to a whole different level. And I love to see people that you could never play in a normal band with because they are in a completely different way and different vibe. Trying to land down some ideas that perfectly fits and matches yours. And I love that fusion. And that's a thing that you can do with music if you really trust the ones you are playing with. And you can never do with people you don't trust. So I have to say that I'm very pleased with the results, and whoever likes guitar virtuosity, he will be pleased, of course. And the ones who love this street canon kind of true doom metal, they will be surprised, I guess. But at the end of the day, I'm here to make music with my friends. I mean, I'm a professional musician, but I'm doing something different with other bands under other names, and I'm professionally touring and so on. But when it's the time to express my feelings and just to try to release things that really move me, I want my friends to be involved, and this is exactly the case.
Definitely. Well, we are going to play Vessel Part 1, The Night Within, on our show right now for the very first time. So what would you like to say to everybody out there before they take a listen to this amazing track?
First, I want to say that I'm humbled and I'm really happy for this track to be played in your show. I really want to greet everyone and say thank you to everyone involved. And also that this is a song about how easily you can start. I mean, how easily your mental health can be crumbled, and how easy you can become the vessel for something outside of you, which is depression and this kind of anguish, and being a vessel for these bad feelings. So this is just my personal story, Vessel Part 1 and Vessel Part 2, that will be the first track on the LP down the year, basically at the end of the year. So these two songs are a very personal take on mental health, and I hope that you like. I mean, and that should be my point on this day.
Definitely. Well, here you go, listeners. This is The Vessel Part 1, The Night Within, which is taken from The Spiral Labyrinth, which will be out in October 2023.